Welcome back, guys. Mike here, Money, Marriage, and Media. Today, we are back with the Lapeef Experience. For those of you that don't know, I had a goal of reaching 600 subscribers. We've gone past that. Moving on to the next goal, 1,000 subscribers, right? So today, are black men dating to marry? That's the topic of this video. The show is called Bridging the Gap with Kelly. And I'm assuming Kelly is on the panel. Notable married people on the panel. We have Trigger Mike, Chaotic Truth, and I think Coach K is recently married now. So this should be interesting. Are black men dating to marry? You know what? I'm gonna hold my opinion on that because there's a popular narrative out there right now, and I want to see if they're actually going to address it. And it's probably not what you think it is. So let's go.
It's almost expected that girls are going to flock to you as a black man versus everybody else. So I think that it all kind of plays a part into it. But no, I don't think there's any kind of dating for marriage. I think if anything, we trying to smash tonight. We met you today. We're trying to smash tonight and then smash your friend tomorrow. And that's just kind of how that is right now.
Right. So I feel like that's probably why it plays a part as to why black men are more fetishized. Because I do see that.
You got to think about aesthetically.
I agree.
How black men are built. I mean, the whole shebang. It appeals to women. So
women want to be the most desired by men. Men want to be the most desired by women. So if by default we have that part taken care of, because yeah, if that's all women are coming to you for, that means you haven't made enough. You're just a pretty face, and you haven't done enough in your life to command any other type of respect. Hey, look, Raul, on some real.
Yeah,
and you know, right. I like to break things down scientifically. There is only one race of dude, and it's black dudes, that have a span of categories in the porn industry on different women. Like they're the number one clicked like person.
That speaks to the point that Curse of Life was making. You know what? Let's cut that off. Let's get rid of that background noise. That speaks to the point that Curse of Life was making before about the fetish. Well, that I will agree with. Black men, we are fetishized. But at the end of the day, again, race is the cheat code for dating and marriage. People tend to stick to their own. So the narrative is that, well, let's go ahead and finish it.
When I heard that, I was like, okay, but that's just to say to the point where we are the most fetishized male, right? So it's not it's not necessarily a good thing. Like Kyle said, should we really be, feeling like we should?
Right, because I mean, if you break it down, like a lot of it, we already say that there's not a lot of dating, that maybe in the traditional sense is really just a lot of situationships and hooking up. So if we want to talk about, you combine the lack of true relationships with all this fetishizing of black men is really just like, all we're doing is just giving women experiences. So that's cool when you are about that life and you're out there trying to get your numbers up. But as a culture, I don't know if that's a positive thing. And so I don't know if that's really going to result in progression of families and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, we're all getting it in and that's cool. But what's going to happen after that?
You were saying like black men being fetishized and everything like that. My question to you was going to be, do you believe that it is because do you believe that black men are dating to marry, or are black men out here just casually dating so you do become fetishized? Because
you know what, JR, if you're watching this, I don't know if you specifically edited it like this, but this is a great editing job because I can follow the train of thought. Obviously, it looks like they didn't start out with the question, but that's a great lead up because it follows right along the lines of we can really follow the thought process here. High level conversation. Again, for those of you who are new, because we just had a recent jump in subscribers, on this channel, we're looking for high level conversations to where we can peel back the layers and actually learn something. Why? Because the gender war is dumb. And the only way you're going to get through this stuff is high level conversations so we can move past this stuff and start building a community.
That is all you were trying to do.
I mean, well, the culture, I feel like, again, being that hip hop culture and black culture are so closely linked, hip hop culture is really driven by younger people. And so younger people, 21 to 25, let's say, they're for sure not out here trying to date to marry. They're getting it in as much as they can. You can go to YouTube and watch.
And that's a problem because the behavior that he's talking about is immature. We need to start. We need to start setting our families up so that our kids mature. They are more mentally prepared for the way that the majority of their adult life is going to be spent, not just the first couple of years of it. And in most cases, that's when you tend to make the mistakes that that have long-term lasting effects.
All these street interviews that young college kids do, everybody's really just getting down. They exchanging Snapchats and they hooking up and they barely know each other at all. So, I mean, to answer your question, yeah,
Not
I feel
really.
like a lot of guys
Not
are
really.
out here, participating in it just to get their numbers up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everybody's trying to get it.
That's a small sample size. First off, you're talking about, we already know that the vast majority of men in that age group offer very little utility, and most women are looking for utility. So, I mean, outside of it, like, you have a very small percentage of guys who are physically attractive, and that's basically what they're going on. It's physical attractiveness, and then social hierarchy based in the small groups that are within that age range. Most of the time, it's college campuses. So who's the big man on campus? That's the guy that's tend to be, the high value guy in that age group. But again, if college is dominated by women, we're talking about a very small percentage. So he probably never put that much thought into it because, when you're on a panel, you don't, it's everything happens real time. But that is the scenario of what he's talking about. Again, you can go to these YouTube channels and watch these street interviews and see what I'm talking about. Yeah.
In regardless. So at the same time, the women are also participating in it. Once upon a time, I feel like when we all were coming up, it wasn't just so easy and accepted that even just for dudes to just be out here smashing, all these white women so openly, really it was something that you and your friends might have known about, but it really wasn't like
But again, it's still not that small group of men are having sex with the majority of women.
I'm going to the mall and I'm gonna be out here talking to white chicks in the middle of the mall. Like that was something that was kind of taboo. You know what I mean? If you got a white girl's number, it was on the low a little bit, unless you was, King Dingaling. Whereas nowadays, you walk up, it's almost expected that girls are gonna flock to you as a black man versus everybody else. So I think that it all kind of plays a part into it. But no, I don't think there's any kind of dating for marriage.
Okay, he might be able to say that. Numbers don't. The numbers don't. They don't. When you look at dating apps, the most popular race in the United States is white men. That's the most popular race of men, white. So I don't know where he's getting his data from. I mean, because you can go to any of the dating site data. It's the same data that tells you that who the least desirable race of women are. The same data. It's the same study. Black men are not the most desirable. So I don't know where he's getting that from.
I think if anything, we trying to smash tonight. We met you today. We're trying to smash tonight, and then smash your friend tomorrow. And that's just kind of how that is right now.
Right. So I feel like that's probably why it plays a part as to why black men are more fetishized, because I do see that. So I just want to know your take on it.
But that kind of goes. It's fetishized for a bunch of different reasons. It's taboo. As much as we'd like to think that all this stuff is over, it's still taboo. There's still something taboo about being with somebody who doesn't look exactly like you. Especially when they've got stereotypes like they got big penises, and whenever you look at an athlete, the first thing you think about is a black man. Like, you got to think about aesthetically just how black men are built. I mean, the whole shebang. It appeals to women. So
I mean, look what TikTok has done to interracial relationships. You know what I mean? Every popular TikTok so-called content creator is really just like doing a dance that that is pretty much inspired by hip hop dance, or, is dancing to some rap song or whatever it is. So that
when you start using TikTok as a reference point, as a source of information, the majority of the time, you about to lose that argument. You're about to lose that argument. Because again, we just talked about hip hop culture is not the greatest. So why we use it? So all of a sudden now we're going to use it as a reference for something else. This conversation seems like it's kind of going off the rails here.
Plays into it even more so when it comes down to black men. You know what I mean? Look at all kinds of athletics. You know, athletes nowadays are damn near the leaders of the community to some people. And so a lot of those athletes are black males. You know what I mean? You go to a college and the person that's getting all the draws is the starting quarterback, starting wide receiver for the football team. So, and that dude is probably a black dude. So,
but that's social hierarchy. That's not new. It's always been like that. What do we? And the high level conversation continues to decline. It's not a new concept. It's social hierarchy that's been around. It's a carryover from high school. But if you notice, that doesn't go past college, though. It really stops at high school, and you just have the remnants of it in college. But after that, okay, all right. Let's hope it gets back on track, because it was.
So I don't think that any of that has to do with marriage or trying to build a community or anything like that. I really just think that it's, you know, sex culture gone crazy a little bit. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of the freedoms that young people have nowadays to connect is, you know, way larger than what we've ever had. So,
but I think that says something. I think that says something about like black people, though. I don't like this idea of being just good enough to have sex with, but not necessarily build a relationship with. That's something that's disrespectful to me. I think that says a lot about how you view me.
I'm glad somebody said
as an individual. But again, I'm taking the approach that most men don't, because most men don't care to think, you know, without their penis, which is, you know, the unfortunate downfall of most men. But yeah, I don't appreciate not being valued outside of physical attribute. I think that's actually really demeaning and dehumanizing. That's just me personally. Yeah. Now I know people in the chat on the other end, you know what I'm saying? Y'all heathens and demonic satanic worshipers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I
don't pay attention to the chat. But every time
that's why I made that statement, Cheeky, that it's up to each individual man to build himself into something more that, you know, to be desired than that. Because when you really look at it from the animalistic nature, every man wants to be that. Women want to be the most desired by men want to be the most desired by women. So if by default we have that part taken care of, because yeah, if that's all women are coming to you for, that means you haven't made enough. You're just a pretty face and you haven't done enough in your life to command any other type of respect. But I will take that. Like I said, we got enough against us. So shoot, if that is a way somebody wants to honor me, I'll take that, because I'm also a serious man. You know what I mean? So
I was gonna say that it a little bit is that I think because white people are Caucasian, whatever you want to call us, I guess, is the majority of the U.S. for now, but you know, for a while it's been. So it's like maybe because it's different, you know, dating someone that's not white. But I think if you're in a predominantly black area, I'm sure dating someone that's not black would be, I don't like saying taboo, but it would be different too. Like you're definitely going to turn heads, or you might get comments. And I think as the racial makeup, whatever it looks like, I think it's going to be like that for, you know, for all the groups, you know, just in general. But and then also too, I mean, I love this space because these topics are relevant in the white community too. I think in all communities, but I'm white, so I guess whatever. But that's why I love this space, because I don't know, and I haven't seen any other, you know, channels or whatever, and I've been in this space for a while now. But, you know, all of the things that you guys are talking about, I mean, I don't know. I think just women in general don't look at men in a very positive light anyway.
No. Oh, okay. Hold
And kind of
on.
like what Cheeky was saying.
Ah.
So think about that.
Got me on that one. Okay. So what do we have going on here? That's an interesting. What we got going on here? Let's fix this screen a little bit, cause let's get this back up here.
Nowadays,
And boom. Okay, get y'all back up there so we know who to address. I think Cheeky made some excellent points. Because at the end of the day, you have to look at who people are marrying, right? What are they bringing home to meet their parents? See, that's why I'm glad they brought up the fetish comment, because but at the end of the day, who are people valuing? They value who they take home to meet their family. And this is why that whole comment about black men being the most desirable, that's not true. It's not. The numbers say different. Okay. And I'm a black man, and I'm telling you that. But again, stop listening to the YouTube propaganda. Go do some research and you'll see what I'm talking about. The most desirable men in this country, as far as race goes, is still white men. And why? Well, because they're the predominant race in this country. That just makes sense. I mean, come on now. Now, the other thing that's going on here is that we as black men, we are dropping the ball with taking life. We're not taking life serious enough because we are the least married men. We keep playing into this narrative about being the fetish. And, it is, I think it was Kyle that mentioned it about the culture that we're following. It's time to leave that culture behind and grow up. I've said this before about we need to really do a better job of raising our daughters to reach maturity, mental maturity faster so that they're ready for marriage at a younger age. With guys, that's a little bit true, but we got to break these, these generational curses. The marital age for men, I think is not as significant of, it's not something that needs to improve on more, but we got to get out of this mentality of being fearful of marriage. Because again, hey, if you don't want kids, then we don't need to have that conversation. But the majority of us do. And we already know, again, the data has shown us that the best environment to raise children, two-parent household bonded by marriage. So when you start talking about, that's why, again, I'm not a red pill channel. This is not, I'm not in the manosphere. I'm going to make that very clear because I'm not. Because a lot of those talking points, they're good as long as you don't want to have no kids. But the minute kids start coming into conversation, a lot of those talking points start falling apart. Because again, data is clear. But a lot of times we want to manipulate the conversation and avoid the data points that don't meet the narrative that we're trying to lead. And a lot of times, these RP talking points, they sound good when you just want to be a single guy and go out there and have sex to the day you die. But I already told you that doesn't help improve our community. It doesn't destroy our community, but it doesn't improve it either. You kind of just at a stalemate. But I find it interesting that we as men keep complaining about the condition of our women, but we're not willing to step up and do the work that it takes to make sure that we raise the next generation of daughters better than the current generation of women. The only way you're going to do that is start biting the bullet. We got to start, and this is why I say we need more married people making content. We need to start normalizing marriage in our community. And now a lot of guys, I know you're going to say, well, no, because divorce rates, she's going to marry, she's paid to leave. Guys, you got to start looking at data points, and you just start touching base with reality. Number one, there are things that you can do to mitigate the divorce rate. It's not set in stone. Number two, we need to start addressing the real issues as to, yes, women file the divorce majority of the time. Number one, we got to start. There are a couple things. Number one, we got to start addressing why the divorce. Why is she filing for a divorce? We're gonna have to do that in another video, right? Because I already got one on it. But why is she filing for divorce? Number one, and number two, why are we picking women who are prone to filing for divorce? Even because the reality is that women oftentimes are not in a better situation than they were in the marriage, if they're picking the right guy. So again, I keep telling you guys, all these topics are connected. So yeah, if we're improving the vetting process, right? If we're raising our daughters to actually be wives, that's number one. Number two, so they can get married younger. Number two, we improve the vetting process so that we're less likely to choose the wrong man or woman. Number three, that means that we'll have you and your spouse have more time together to build the proper foundation before you start bringing a kid or children into the mix of the marriage, which if you're on a bad foundation, it's only going to make things worse anyway. See, we've got something to work with. Number four is that that you have time, you have the opportunity to start planning how you want your family to move as a unit. That's where the rebuilding happens. But again, that's how you break generational curses. But look, guys, this video is going way too long, and we're going to end it here because I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. But do me another favor, like and subscribe, but also check out these here. Either subscribe or watch videos, one or the other. I don't know which side, but hey, all right.